Sourcing funding for any size of business is always a challenge, and it's harder than ever in a tough economic climate. Sure, there are sources of funding available, but most of them require personal guarantees or even charges on personal assets, which might include a family home. Pension-led business funding returns control to business owners. In fact, it allows them to back themselves. This type of funding is available to owners or directors with existing pension assets of more than £50,000. With around 4.5 million SMEs in the UK, employing nearly 14 million people, pension-led business funding offers a significant boost to the small business economy. Now, in case you're thinking this is just a niche opportunity, since the Finance Act 2004, more than 1,200 businesses have accessed this type of funding. Not surprisingly, positive media coverage of pension-led business funding has risen dramatically as traditional lending has become harder to source. Pension-led funding can take many forms. Pensions can interact with businesses and their owners via loans, the purchase of unlisted shares, the purchase of commercial property, or intangibles such as intellectual property. Here's just one example of how pension-led business funding has worked, even when the best business gurus fail to see an opportunity. After being eaten alive by the dragons in BBC TV's Dragon's Den, Tony Curtis approached Clifton Asset Management for help. They used the Optimise product. They stepped in where dragons feared to tread. The result meant Tony could back himself and fund his own business, Alago, which is now defying the dragons financially and in product development and growth. Alago's greatest asset? The intellectual property or IP value in Tony's invention. In fact, IP is a significant asset in most businesses, though most owners don't seem to recognise it, and that's exactly the view of Neil Johnson when he was looking to fund his compliance, will and estate planning consultancy. The independent valuation of his business took him by surprise and allowed him to fund a business expansion and marketing program using Optimise. But what exactly is IP? In fact, most companies have at least 6 of these intellectual property elements, but often it takes an expert to identify them. That's where Optimise can help, also providing access to some of the UK's leading independent IP valuation specialists. So here's how IP-based pension-led funding works. Your company needs working capital. It could be to fund business or product development, marketing, new premises, or just stay on track in a difficult economy. Once agreed that pension-led business funding is the best route, the Optimise team helps the business owners or directors set up a SAS or SIP pension scheme and transfer some or all of their individual pension funds into it. At that point, the intellectual property value is independently assessed, and the pensions trustees agree to buy some or all of the IP assets from the business or loan money to the business secured against the IP. Now, it's important here to consult your tax advisor regarding the best approach. In the case of a sale and leaseback, the scheme sets up a bank account and releases the agreed sum to the company. The company, in turn, receives a cash sum and begins making lease payments to the pension scheme, usually on a monthly basis over 5 years. There are a large number of benefits to pension-led business funding, but most important of all, it gives a company access to capital on what are likely to be more agreeable and achievable terms, whilst opening the door to potential long-term pension growth. Now, it's important to remember that pension-led business funding isn't necessarily right for every business, nor is it an either-or option against more traditional forms of lending. But, as this table shows, it compares favourably against some of the more well-known sources of funding. There are, of course, risks, but they need to be viewed in context. For example, a traditional loan or facility in today's difficult banking climate is likely to require a director to provide a personal guarantee. So here's the big question. Is an investment in your own business likely to bring you more wealth than investing in someone else's business? Now, we can't answer that question for you, but we can say that if your business is fundamentally sound and sustainable, pension-led business funding can be very attractive. If your business is neither of these, the answer is not to invest in it. But while we're on the subject, don't ask anyone else to invest in it either. Optimize provides a solution to suit every business style and type. Contact us now to discover how Optimize can help you take control of your business. Thanks for watching.